I recently read about a gray-haired, heavy-set man, a resident of Kherson. Kherson was occupied by Russia early in its invasion of Ukraine. Through brutal crackdowns on protests, arrests and torture, killings and disappearances, overt public protest was eventually quelled. That's when this gray-haired man, somebody's grandpa, put together a network of spies. Adopting the code name of Dollar, he twice weekly went to a secret location, unearthed a hidden cell phone, and called the Ukrainian military with information on Russian locations and movements. The Russians were aware that there were informants. If they had found Dollar, they would surely have tortured him for the names of others in the network and killed him. He persisted anyway. Just reading this story gave me a feeling in the pit of my stomach, a sense of dread and impending doom. He showed amazing courage. Stories of heroism in a crisis we find inspiring. Even if we haven't been on a battlefield, we know about fear and we know about courage. Fear and dread are a part of every life, and fear takes many forms. Sometimes it comes as free-floating anxiety, and we can't say exactly what it is we're afraid of. Something is just not right. Sometimes it takes the form of worry. We worry about our children, our finances, our health, our traveling family members. Once we start, it's hard to stop. And sometimes there is a clear danger, and our fear spurs us to action. A storm sends us to the basement, for example. We have all known fear. So when we hear stories like Dollar's, we are stirred by them. We wonder where he found the courage. We wonder if we could be as courageous. On Friday, King Charles of Great Britain said, "It has now been a year that the people of Ukraine have suffered unimaginably from an unprovoked, full-scale attack on their nation. They have shown truly remarkable courage and resilience in the face of such human tragedy." It is remarkable. All this month, we've been focusing on our theme of resilience. And all the while, we have been watching the Ukrainian people demonstrating what it takes to be resilient. One of the things it requires is courage. The courage to resist injustice and oppression, as Dollar did, without fail, until the Russian troops withdrew from Kherson. And also, more commonly, the courage to persist, to start over, to be vulnerable, to seek help, to change. Just as we all know fear, we all need courage. My message today is that you have what you need. There are wells of courage in your life, and you will find them when you need them. To find your sources of courage, all you have to do is ask yourself, what do I love? In our story for all ages this morning, we heard about a very brave little girl who faced fears both real and imagined on the way to meet the school bus. There was the long, cold walk, then the noises in the dark woods, and finally the volatile bull. Where did she find the courage to leave her warm, safe, cozy home? The answer, I think, comes at the end of the story, when she gets on a warm, cozy bus with friendly smiles on its way to school. I think this little girl loved her friends and loved school, and that's what made her brave. What do you love? I think many Ukrainians have been surprised to find out how much they love their homeland and their freedom. Even after losing family members and homes, even lacking warmth and food and security, they find that they love their country enough to keep fighting. But I'd like to give an example a little closer to home for many of us. I worked for a number of years in early childhood education and got to know many families. I was always a little bit in awe of the sacrifices parents were willing to make for their children. I knew parents who worked multiple jobs and scrimped on their own needs to keep their children in shoes or to hire a tutor for a child struggling in school. I met parents who had fought hard to get themselves and their children out of refugee camps to someplace safer, even though they knew nothing of where they were going. They just acted on hope that their children would get an education and a chance in life. That was a kind of patient courage. What do you love? I learned this week about Yasuteru Yamada, a 72-year-old Japanese engineer and cancer survivor who organized the Skilled Veterans Corps to clean up the Fukushima nuclear disaster. The Corps is made of elderly engineers and others who took the place of younger workers. Yamada explained that someone who could expect to live about 10 or 15 more years would be less likely to develop cancer in their lifetime than a younger person. I think Yamada's love of his colleagues and his work and of the community as a whole motivated him to be generous and courageous. And he was not alone. Over 400 people joined the Corps. What do you love? Maybe you love your own life. It doesn't sound as noble, perhaps, but it's this well of courage that is the most essential. Call it survival instinct. In the middle of adversity, you realize that you have to change, or you have to leave, or you have to get help. Your life depends on it, and so you do. Like a child walking through a dark wood, you know that if you just keep walking, you'll be all right. Remember the reading that Ed shared a few minutes ago? To defeat fear, you don't have to drive it away. You just have to not do what it tells you to do. Now, if your fear is telling you to go to the basement until a tornado passes, you may want to listen to that. But even then, listen to love as well. Take your family with you and your pets. But in the middle of the night or in a metaphorical dark wood, don't listen to fear. Fear will tell you you aren't up to it, that you can't do anything, that you need to protect yourself. But it's not true. To quote Clara Pinkola Estes, when a great ship is in the harbor and moored, it is safe. There can be no doubt. But that is not what great ships are built for. You are made for the challenges that you face. Don't listen to that fearful voice in the night. Listen to love, and you will find deep wells of courage.